Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Brittany. I read books and I review them, sometimes recommend them. And if you have been here before, of course, thank you for tuning in. The book that I'm going to be reviewing today, I'm really excited about. It's called Rootless. And I'm just going to let you know right now, I'm going to be singing this book's praises because it was actually chef's kiss. So good. So how I even ended up getting this book actually was I went into Barnes and Nobles looking for a different book. They had it, but then when I read the sleeve, I was kind of like, okay, like what, like the sleeve has to get you right away. Well, me personally. And so I had that book in my hand and I was kind of like browsing around, and then I saw this one. And like a good cover just like really just draws you in, you know? And so I saw this book and I was like, oh, let me just read the cover, see what it's about. And I actually like ended up getting this one over the other one, which of course I think I still will read later on, but this one really, it was like, you have to read this one first. So I'll give you a quick like summary of what this book was about without, of course, like spoiling the end for you, because I want you to read the book and like get the full experience for yourself and not just like take that away from you. But I'll give you some things and hopefully it's enough to like draw you in to want to read it for yourself. So on the cover, I'm assuming this is the main character. So we're introduced to, and I hope I'm saying this name right, Effie. Or it could be Ify, I'm not really sure. It's a Ghanaian name. So if you're from Ghana and I'm pronouncing it wrong, please let me know. So we're introduced to Effie, and she is this Ghanaian girl who is sent to like go to school actually in London. So she goes there, she's going to like high school, and her cousin also lives there. Her sister goes with her younger sister. And she is like, doing her thing. She meets this friend, Sam. So there are two main characters in the book, Effie and Sam. She like meets, this friend and they end up liking each other. That's all fine and great. So Effie, while she's there, she's trying to like find herself. She feels that pressure of like, I feel like I've spoken about this before in like other books, like the African families like place a lot of pressure on their children to do well in school and to like follow certain career paths and stuff. So of course she's feeling that. While she's there, she meets this friend Sam. He is like super studious and is like, I'm gonna do this for myself, like I'm gonna push myself, I'm gonna become a lawyer, all this stuff. So they're kind of different, but they feed off of each other really well. So the story progresses. They're friends through high school, they're really close, they spend a lot of time together, they help each other through their like tough times, midterms, finals, all that stuff. And then the friend group all get accepted to colleges and stuff, so they go about on their way. Very, very nice introduction to the book. Effie, unfortunately, like fails out of college, and so has to kind of like deal with that struggle of her own, like on her own, because now her friends are like at different places. She has to deal with that, and keeping in mind that her Ghanaian family, or mostly her mother, is gonna be like what do you, like now what, like you have to go back to the school, you have to ask them to give you another chance, like you're not gonna just fail out of school. So she's dealing with that stress, pressure, all that stuff, and ends up finding a job at like this art gallery and is like, whoa, I actually like kind of really like this. So long story short, she decides to like deal with that stress and of her parents and her mother mostly not being okay with that, and just goes to do whatever she wants to do with this art gallery. So the story is kind of like progressing, showing how she's dealing with that. Sam is kind of like out of the picture for a little bit, and it's mostly focused on her. And so they reconnect and fall in love, get married, all that good stuff. I'm sure you knew that was coming, right? But what I really love about this book is that the first chapter, and I can show you, starts with May 2016, and it says 5 months before, like something, I don't know what it is. And in this, well, I mean, I know what it is, you won't know. In this chapter, it's talking about like how they all have already been married, they already have a child, and Effie just disappears. Like Sam comes home and he doesn't see her, and he looks in his bank account and mad of their money is missing, and it's like, what's going on? But then what I really love about this book is that after that first chapter that really hooks you in, then it like goes back to September 1997, 19 years before. And the entire book like leads up from 1997 all the way back to that first chapter that was in 2016. And I've never seen a book that did that before. So that was really interesting. And like, in all of this time, you get to really see like who Effie is, who Sam is, and try to like see if you could predict like why we get to this point of her like disappearing and taking their money, right? So love that about the book. I'm not even talking about likes yet, I'm still on the summary, right? So throughout the book, like I was telling you, we get to know who these characters are, and we see that Effie really doesn't like children. Like there's certain situations where she's around like kids and she's kind of like, you know? And on the other hand, you can see like Sam is like, oh, like the baby is so cute. Like I can't wait for us to like be there, that type of thing. And so that was like the first kind of like tension that you could pick up on, like maybe like midway through, like a third of the book through. It's also in parts, I think like 2 parts maybe. And so that's what you pick up on. And so like I said a little while ago, they ended up having a child, Olivia, a girl, and Effie deals with like 3 years of postpartum. Now, I don't have any children. I would like to one day, but 3 years of postpartum seems horrible. Like I'm just gonna say it seems horrible just from things that I've heard, and that's not even with experiencing it. So like the story goes through like she is so depressed. She feels like her life is being consumed by this child. She feels like Sam is there and he's like encouraging, but he doesn't really like get it, which I feel like many mothers that are going through postpartum probably feel. She feels like this child is taking up all of my time. I don't have time to like go shopping, go to the gallery, go back to work, which is like the things that she's really passionate about. And not only does it last, not only is it that, but it's for 3 years. Like also the child, Olivia, is kind of like a sick kind of girl. So Effie really goes through it for 3 years. And what's interesting is like she did it because of Sam. Like, you know, like I mentioned, he really like wanted to be a father and really like loved the idea of expanding their family and stuff like that. And I think it was because in the book they explain like how his mother like left him when he was a little bit younger. And so I think it was more so of like him like, okay, that happened to me and now I have the opportunity to like change that in my own life. Whereas Effie had her family and like didn't deal with that type of like trauma and didn't really care to have children. And now thinking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, they did. So I was gonna say like, that's kind of like some of the reasons why some people's like marriages and stuff break up, because it's like one person wants to have a family and then the other doesn't. But in the book they had said like they discussed that and they were like, we'll see when we get there, which is like not really like a good, that's on that specific topic of like children, it's like an answer of saying like we'll see when we get there isn't like a good enough answer in my opinion, as you can clearly see, or as you will clearly see when you read the book. So yeah, she goes through 3 years of postpartum and absolutely hates it. On top of that, Sam's father had like he had a stroke, so not only was she dealing with postpartum, but while Sam went to work, Effie was like taking care of the father, and he was really like horrible. He had like memory loss and like was kind of like angry, and so at one point he like hit her and she was like, I can't. So it was a lot. Fast forward a little bit more closer to like the middle, like about the middle of the book, we get to the point where Effie realizes that she's pregnant again. And so based on the first situation that she had, she's like, there's no way I'm having this baby. Like, I'm not gonna go through another situation of like 3 years of me being so depressed and like not having anyone that actually like understands what I'm going through. And so once she like, you know, like takes the tests and realizes that like she is actually pregnant, like that's when the story really like takes a turn, which I'm not gonna say because I want that part to be like really juicy and interesting for you to see what happens. But that's when she decides like, so she tells Sam like, hey, like I'm pregnant, and she's like, there's no way I'm gonna go through with this. And Sam, again, like the first time, is like, no, like everything is gonna be fine, like we'll work it out, we'll get everything together. And she's like, you said this the first time and I went through postpartum for 3 years. So that's where I will leave the like summary version of the book, so you can see what comes of that whole second pregnancy and like how they deal with that. And when I tell you, it's not like a, okay, well, I guess I'll see what happens with the second baby. Like, it just ends very wildly that you would like not even expect. So yeah, that's my summary. I usually do like likes and dislikes about a book, and like I don't even have any dislikes about this book, so that's how good it was. The chapters were kind of short. I didn't feel like I was powering through like, oh my god, when is this chapter gonna end? They were short and like very enjoyable. Like an effortless read, like you want to keep going to see what happens in the book. There were 2 viewpoints in the book, Sam and Effie, which is good. Like, I love that. People should just write all books with multiple characters and multiple viewpoints. It just really forms a good idea of what the book is. And what I really love, so I love the format of how it started with 2016 and then went back 19 years and then built back up to 2016. But what I really loved about this book is like the topics that they talked about. So they talked about like postpartum depression, and I haven't read a book about postpartum depression, obviously because I had never had to, or seen it in like story form. And I felt like that was really important to like share. I feel like many mothers out there who are readers would appreciate like an author writing, oh, this is the author, by the way, would appreciate an author like writing a book that includes stuff like that so that they can feel seen and heard. It talks about like motherhood and how some people just truly, believe it or not, don't want to be mothers, and they sometimes don't and like live their lives happily, but sometimes they end up like going through it for their loved ones, like for Sam, like, you know, for their husband, and then it ends up being really just like traumatizing and a period of unhappiness for them. And it's not to say like, it's like you got yourself in that situation, I mean, which they kind of did, but or it's not to say like, oh, you don't love your kid, like you have a beautiful kid, like how could you even say that? It's it can be both, you know. I really appreciated those topics because like I said before, like I want to be a mom in the future, and so I feel like it kind of opened up my eyes a little bit, even though I already knew this, like motherhood and like pregnancy and stuff isn't going to be a bed of roses. Like it's not that case for many people. And so I really appreciated like reading this and like not in like the non-fiction like blah blah like scientific terms. It's like you got to see it like in a story form. And then the last thing I really enjoyed about this book is like they were like such deep quotes. Like there were 2 that I had to like literally put a star next to while I was reading, or like fold the page so that I could remember, because I wanted to share it with you guys. And so let's see. So after she had left, there was some time when Sam and Effie were like talking, and he was asking her like, do you not love Olivia? Like why would you leave? And so this is what she said. I can love her and still want something more for my life. Love and regret aren't mutually exclusive. she hesitates. I can't go back to the beginning. I can't let myself get stuck again. I thought that was so cool. Like, you know, like, that's kind of like what I was just saying. Like, people think like, you should be so happy, you should be so lucky, like you get to be a mother and this and that, whatever. But like, it's both. Like, I can love her and still want something more for myself. And I really think that moms are gonna like appreciate that for sure. And then there was another portion where Effie was talking to one of her best friends from Ghana who ended up like having a kid with someone in the community, and the guy wasn't really like around for her after she's had the baby. Like, he was giving her money, but like wasn't really like a father figure in the household. And Effie had asked her like, are you happy? Like, are you happy with this life that you have? And she was like, wherever I have my son is home to me. He'll be cared for. And then it said like over the phone, she was very calm. And then she said, people, even the ones who love you, can be a weight around your neck. You just have to choose which weight you want to carry. And I'm strong. This I can live with. And so it's like, again, showing you that like, things don't have to be like this or that. It could be both, you know? Like, she's in a very sticky, like not ideal situation of like, she has a kid with this person and no, he's like nowhere around. And she's like, but you know, like I love this baby, and like it can feel like a weight around my neck, but like you get to choose like which weights you carry, I guess, basically. And like, she chose to have that baby and now she feels loved by it, but there's also a weight, like, you know, like that duality of things. So yeah, Rootless, I'm giving this book absolutely 5 stars. I'm recommending this book to women who are mothers, women who want to be mothers, women who don't want to be mothers. I'm recommending this book to anyone that's hearing these words that are coming out of my mouth. 5 stars. You need to read this book. Please read it. Tell me what you think. Add it to your cart right now on Amazon. You need to read this book. But yeah, other than that, I don't know if I'll be putting out another review for some time, mainly because I don't know if you guys can see, but I have some books here on my bookshelf that I've had for literally years that I haven't read. Not all of them are like review worthy, I would say, so I might not review them, but I want to spend some time like getting through those books and maybe keeping or donating them, and then I'll like get back to like getting new ones, because I don't want to just keep getting new books and then putting these books to the side, you know. But yeah, that was my mostly spoiler-free review of Rootless. Please go get the book. I recommend it. Please comment if you have already read it. Share this with someone if you know that they might be interested in what the book is talking about. Thank you guys for your support and for watching this entire video. If you did, you're a real one. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.